If you're working on a construction project that's running phone lines through a rated floor or wall, please take a moment to listen to this series that we've created because there's a serious risk that these applications are not being fire stopped right. Your phone and data teams such as Verizon, Comcast, and the rest of them, they're likely creating a liability on your project when they run data and phone lines. You'll understand as we go through this. But if you think I should contact these big companies, please know that I've tried, unsuccessfully, to find the right people to speak with. And the only solution I can think of now is to let the rest of you know about this issue and hope that you can, at the very least, make a difference on the projects that you're working on. These phone and data installers are typically using two different materials, at least from what I've seen. If you've seen something different in your area, please let me know. The two things I typically see are this white plastic microduct. They're relatively small, maybe 5/8 inch diameter, and maybe running in a single line or as bundles. Then there's this orange corrugated ENT, or interduct, which is typically polyvinyl chloride or PVC. I saw this on a project and I didn't know exactly how to fire stop it because I wasn't quite sure what it was. So I called around to the fire stop manufacturers, and one of them gave me a detail for PVC ENT, and they said, yep, that's what you need. Except that's typically the orange corrugated material that I just showed you. Sometimes it's blue, so if you've heard of Smurf tube, then you know what I'm talking about. But the white stuff is not PVC. You should know that there are still some materials that cannot survive the rigors of the fire test, so it's critical that you check. If the detail allows for ENT but doesn't specify PVC, please check that it's a UL certified ENT under the product category FKHU. When I called all the various fire stop manufacturers looking for fire stop details for HDPE, Hilti was the only manufacturer that was able to give me details. The ones they gave me were WL, WJ, and FC. So if you know your nomenclature, you know that that's gypsum wall, concrete walls, and floor ceiling assemblies for wood-framed applications. We'll get into all of this, but first you need to know something. HDPE plastic has a very different fire dynamic than PVC, and you may have read that it has a higher melting point than other PE plastics, and that's true. But let's put this into reference of the ASTM E814 fire test. And if you've been following this blog for a while, or if you're involved in the industry, then you're already familiar with the time temperature curve that we're talking about with this particular fire test. For this discussion, we're going to reference it just looking at plastic pipes. Here are the temperatures reached inside the furnace during the typical ASTM and UL fire test that we talk about. The plastics, including CPVC that you see on sprinkler pipes, it's all going to melt between 200 and 500 degrees Fahrenheit. The difference really seems inconsequential when you consider that at the 5-minute mark, the temperature is going to be 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Imagine what's going to happen to the plastic at those temperatures. Check back for the next video series to see if your team is installing these data and phone lines correctly. We'll break each of these discussions into 3 parts. So we're going to start with the present field conditions that we see, then we're going to talk about the problems with that field condition, and then we'll discuss some solutions to consider. We're going to cover a lot of stuff in this series, but we're going to start our discussion with wood frame buildings. If you work in concrete projects, the information is still going to be valuable, so please don't discount it. Besides, by the time we get to talk about concrete projects, you're going to want to know everything we've presented so far, so stick with us. This video series is being created in hopes of sparking improvements not only in the fire stop industry, but in the inspection community and the construction community. If you find value in this, please share it with as many people as you can. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you next time. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're always happy to help if we're able.